Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Cami Rapson. The man charged with killing his parents in Black Wolf back in 2023 appeared in Winnebago County Court today with a new attorney ready to move forward and withdraw his pleas in this case. Eric Metzig's original attorney withdrew from his case in March due to a conflict of interest. Metzig's new attorney, Aaron Shank, appeared in court today saying the defense is ready to proceed with a motion to withdraw Metzig's plea. As we reported, Metzig is accused of killing his parents, Dave and Jan Metzig, in their Wolf River home. His parents were well-known owners of the Union Star Cheese Factory. Metzig pleaded no contest to both counts of first-degree intentional homicide last August, but now wishes to fight the charges, claiming he was a victim of sexual abuse. That motion hearing is now scheduled for July.